The head of the IMF says the situation in the Red Sea has not had a severe effect on the global economy, at least not as yet. Kristalina Georgieva told me that he's worried about this in particular.
We are already seeing cost of shipping going up and reduction of traffic via the Suez Canal. Actually, in the first week of January, 30% less shipping went through there. It is not significant enough to impact the global economy. The risk is more of spillover of violence and prolonging the conflict. And then uncertainty is very high. How would that impact the world? I worry it could be quite negative.
The AI issue, it's not even baking. The ingredients are being mixed at the moment. And the IMF report is truly eye-watering.
What I should say here is that wake-up call is overdue. Artificial intelligence is already penetrating the economy, and for advanced economies, they would see 60% of their jobs impacted either positively, they get a boost from artificial intelligence in productivity, or they're gone.
Governance and ethics is one area, in a sense. That's the sort of the sexy bit. But the other bits are really the bread and butter. Retraining for jobs, managing to put in infrastructure so that everybody benefits.
When you look at the risks from artificial intelligence, there are two that are overwhelming. One is misinformation, disinformation. It has to be managed with rigor. The second one is inequality, and that means that countries have to build social safety nets for people who fall off the cliff, but also social safety ropes, retraining programs.
We are focusing a great deal of attention on the first and very little on the second.
That is very true. And yet, whether AI turns into a boost of productivity so we can get out of low growth in the next years, or it turns into a drag on society and leads to conflict, depends on the second.
Okay, the thing I found most telling in the report is this, which I hadn't thought of, to be blunt, that when AI comes in, those developed economies will move forward faster. People will earn more, by and large. It'll be a boom in a sense. But those developing and low-income countries, they don't even have the infrastructure and the technical abilities to do it. So they fall behind even further. That's the core.
And that is why we should talk not only about inequality within countries, and it will deepen unless we have the social safety ropes. But we need to talk about inequality across countries. And if we are visionary, what are we going to do? We would make a massive investment in digitalization in developing countries, and we would make a massive investment in developing countries to have good social protection for their own people.
This is where I think I have to pour some cold water.
Please don't.
We're not going to do it. I mean, we learned with digitization. We learned with IoT that we didn't spend the money, and consequently, millions of people were not retrained. They fell into poverty.
So why not dream a better world? Our biggest problem is that growth has been remarkably weak and productivity remarkably low for many, many years. What is the problem of it? We don't have the resources to do it. How can we unleash productivity? I talked to the CEO of IBM. He says within 5 years, there can be 3 to 5% jump in productivity if we capture AI for what it is as a positive force.
I'm trying not to be pessimistic.
Join me in the minority of optimists. Can I tell you a story? 1930, John Maynard Keynes writes an essay, Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. And he says something that applies to today so much. He says, the world is going to be better in 100 years. Technology is going to help us to make it a better world. Keynes revolted against that pessimism, looking forward, he predicted the world economy to increase 8 times. It actually increased much more than that. So why not ditch pessimism and say we can deliver for our children and grandchildren?